felt like absolute aliens because people were staring at us. I was definitely overwhelmed, almost like burnt out from making friends because there's so many friends. It was somewhere during that week that I realized these are my people. Even though we don't look alike, we're experiencing the same thing. It's almost like trauma bonding. Part of me that was really rebellious really didn't want to stay in the Chinese school system. I thought US was the best choice. We get thrown into the general orientation. It went up into this high, and then it just went, so that's that, this is that. I just had no idea what was going on. It felt like middle school or something. There's tiny windows. Little desk is connected to the chair. And then this old lady came in. Hey, here's the syllabus. Oh wow, here we go. And all the stress just like...
Welcome back to college. I'm your host, Zach Stevenson. And for this episode, make sure you've got your rulers out and your pencil sharpened, because today in the classroom, we've got another amazing guest. Born in Japan and raised in China, I first met this person on the famous Black Hills trip, where our bond has been tight every day since. He apparently loved college so much that after graduating with a degree in physics and engineering, he has continued his studies in the US with a Ph.D. almost within his grasp. Calling from Manhattan, Kansas, please enjoy this conversation with Naoki Iwamoto. Naoki Iwamoto, welcome back to college.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, first question I'm going to ask you is, how did you hear about Augustana?
It's actually a long story. But long story short, my college advisor in high school, when she heard about my description of my dream college, said, hey, I've been to this small school in the Midwest. You wanted a small school? There you go. And I never visited the school, never even looked into it. And I was like, yep, that's where I'm going. That's where I landed up.
So there was someone from your high school in China that had been to Augustana.
Yeah, so, I mean, okay. My high school is kind of like a international, like, study abroad focused school. At least the department was. And yeah, the college advisor are like full-time positions where they would advise students on which foreign schools they would visit, they would want to go apply for, right? And yeah, apparently she was good friend with Phil, who was our recruiter.
Yeah, Big Phil.
Yeah, and yeah, she recommended me to school because she visited there, thought it was nice. So, yeah.
Dang, that's pretty unique actually. So you had sort of
Yeah.
first-hand knowledge of someone that had checked out the school.
Yeah, secondhand technically, because I mean, I didn't go there, and I was still dropped in blind. But yeah, it was a pleasant surprise when I arrived there, for sure.
Yeah. So why did you decide to go to the US? Because you must have had other options as well.
Well, I don't know. I did. I guess, growing up, we always watched US TV shows, and, US seemed nice. And I guess a part of me that was really rebellious when I was in high school really didn't want to stay in the Chinese school system going into college. So I thought US was the best choice, and I think for the most part that's been true. Yeah.
Right. So did you have any other options for in the US?
Oh, in the US? No. I had some issues that I don't know if I could talk on the podcast. But long story short, Augie was pretty much the only choice that I had. Otherwise, I would have to essentially take a gap year. And
yeah, okay.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, well, you decided to take the plunge and just jump over to the US. Do you remember what that journey was like for you?
It was long. It was it was a little bit. I felt a little bit anxious because the only other previous time that I've been to the US was for leisure. So it was very relaxed and, I wasn't sure. This time around, I was not sure what to expect. And I had horrible grades in high school. So, I think I was quite nervous going into it. I was going into a major that I wasn't necessarily feeling prepared for,
Which was what?
which was physics/engineering. I was because Augie offers this like dual degree engineering program, and that's what I shot for, and that was my sales pitch for my dad, since he was paying for part of it, or all of it really, and yeah, I was quite anxious as to how I would do in the program. So, yeah.
Right, okay. So it wasn't necessarily your choice, 100% to go down the physics path.
It was not. It was parents' pressure saying, "Oh, you better find something that you're interested in and also makes money." So, engineering it was, right? But to be honest, maybe taking the non-engineering path at Augie was the right choice, because practically there isn't a engineering program at Augie. But physics program has been pretty nice to me. So
Right. So you, instead of doing the dual degree with like the engineering, you just ended up with physics. Is that what you finished with?
I still finished with a physics/engineering degree, since there are only like a few classes different, a few classes extra to get the /engineering part. But no, I didn't stick with the dual degree engineering program, and instead I applied. I got the opportunity, so I applied for grad school, and here I am right now in Kansas, pursuing my physics PhD.
Yeah, fantastic. That's pretty amazing that you've come all that way, the big journey to all through that physics in Augustana, and now you're in the middle of doing your PhD, which I think you're the 3 years in now.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. It's been 3 years, but I've been reminded that being here 3 years means I'm a fourth year now. Recently, been telling people I'm a third year student, and then one of my same year student was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a fourth year." Seriously, I feel
That's
old.
3 out of, you still have another 3 to go.
Yeah. I think at the very minimum, I have at least 3 years to go, and in some cases, it could be 4 or 5 more, but I doubt that would be the case.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll park the grad school and PhD for a little second. We'll rewind back to your first day at Augustana. Do you remember how you were feeling when you arrived?
Oh, it was very overwhelming. Um, I remember coming to campus very late at night. Phil picked us up in one of those big white vans. Stuff was our luggages.
That's not sketchy at all.
Right. Oh, I remember all of the Chinese students managed to coordinate the flights together, so we all flew in on the same flight, from Beijing all the way to here. And yeah, the whole time we were chatting, like, even during layovers and stuff. And then by the time we got to Augie, it was quite late, and I got to Bergsacker, right? And I went into my room, and it was just, that was it. Like, I didn't even have my bedding at the time, I don't think. It was just a bare mattress that felt like plastic, and and yeah, everything just kind of like set in that, okay, this is where I'm gonna be at for quite a while, dealing with whatever that's out there that I can't even see right now, right?
Yeah.
So, and I remember, um, who was it? Phil was pointing out places on campus. He was like, "Oh yeah, so that's that. This is that." I just had no idea what was going on. Which way was north? I had no clue. But you know, it was overwhelming, but it was good.
That's hilarious because I had very similar story where I just got plonked in my room in the middle of the night. I had no idea where I was or what I was doing. Just had to
That's
sleep with
right.
a few clothes scrunched under my neck.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, like rolled up T-shirts. That's what we had.
And so, what did you do in the morning?
um, in the morning, I don't know. I think I remember having quite a bit of trouble falling asleep. Probably because of the layover, or sorry, it's a jet lag.
Yeah, not
And
surprised.
in the morning, I woke up super early, and I don't remember what I did. I think I probably went to uh, fuck, what is it called? Not the Union, but like the main building where we have the dining hall.
The Commons.
Yeah, the Commons. That's right. Yeah, we went. I think I went to the Commons with some of the Chinese students because I think that was listed as the place to like get breakfast or something or sit down, something like that. So we went there. Honestly, a lot of that first week was a blur because like we were just back to back everything. And I remember not even having time to set up the phone by the time we left for Black Hills.
Yeah.
So I just had nothing but Wi-Fi wherever we got to. Yeah.
What do you remember about the Black Hills trip?
Um, that it was super fun. I mean, um, other than the fact that I felt kind of underprepared for it. Like, I didn't bring my like bring a big enough water bottle and like small things, but overall, I enjoyed the hike up the Black Elk peak,
Mm-hmm.
and um, yeah, everything was super fun and super organized, and made tons of friends. I think it was somewhere in during that week that I realized, oh, like these are my people. Like look even though we don't look alike, we're experiencing the same thing where we are all far away from home, and we're all having that same process of meeting people that potentially um, we've never interacted with before, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Coming from cultures that we've never interacted with.
Who are
I
some of
guess
the people that you met during that time?
I met you, right?
Do you remember how we met?
Dude, I don't know. Do you?
No.
No, yeah.
It is hard because it is such yeah, like you said, everything just happens all at once. So it is a bit of a blur as to
Yeah,
exactly how things happened.
right. Man, I wish I I think Dan's somehow involved in this.
I do have a photo of us. This must be probably one of the earliest photos we have. I'll show you that.
Oh yeah,
Do you remember
the
that?
wad. Yeah. Wait, is that on top of Black Hill?
No, that's
Oh no.
at Chamberlain, that lunch stop that we had on the way to the Black Hills.
Wrong. Right. Yeah. That's the bridge crossing the middle way through the
Yeah, what river
state.
is that? That's a big river that runs through there.
Is that? I think it must be Missouri River, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, or Mississippi. I don't know. Rivers. Oh, I'm looking it up right now. I'm curious.
And I don't have it on me, but there's a photo which I can put up on the screen later on of us playing Foursquare in the downstairs in the basement at the camp that we were staying at.
Right. Yo, I can't believe you took pictures then. I should have too. That was so much fun. It got so competitive too.
Yeah, just classic game of Foursquare, which seems to be just a universal game. All these international students are queuing up, lines like along the wall, and
Yeah,
everyone's playing for
exactly.
that king spot. And it was
Yeah,
getting
I
heated.
know. I know. And then there's that like little football table too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, that camp was amazing. It had that little piece like a basement place where we had different activities in the morning. Like there's like a little volleyball pitch, a volleyball thing that I think some of us played a
Yeah.
little bit of volleyball
Mm-hmm.
and tiny hikes around. And yeah, it just had everything. It was super fun.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I didn't go to summer camp, but I'm sure that was definitely giving off U.S. summer camp vibes for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the bunk beds, the big bunk bedrooms. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that trip was good fun. Yeah, I always talk to people about it because that's sort of where our first like big memories are formed, I think, and a lot of our friendships form during that trip as well. Because it is such an amazing thing, like you said before. Everyone's coming from different countries and is all sort of stuck in the same boat. Um,
Yeah,
bit shy, bit scared of what's going
yeah,
on, but we all kind of find friendship together and help each other out.
right, 100%. I mean, it's not necessarily traumatizing per se. But it's almost like trauma bonding, where it's like it's such a like in a sense difficult experience that whoever went through it with you, you just become very good friends.
Yeah, and I'm amazed that we met so early on, and I still to this day you're one of the best friends that I've got. Um, and I
Same.
think it just shows how, yeah, how crazy it is just being thrown into the deep end and yeah, just helping each other out and spending some good quality time with each other outside when the weather's nice and warm. Because later on, obviously during the school year, gets freezing cold.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember like right after that international student orientation week, we get thrown into the general orientation, and it just didn't feel the same. It just felt like it went up from this like graduate up into this high, and then it just went and
Here come the Americans.
yeah, and like like nothing against the American students, but there was just not the same level of like bond. Maybe because the experiences are just a little different.
Yeah, well, I
But
think Well, I mean, yeah, the two experiences are quite different. For us, I feel like it's a bit more, for the most part, yeah, we're pretty terrified. We are a bit shy and we sort of take our time getting to know people. Whereas I feel like a lot of the Americans come in, they're super pumped because that's, sort of the clear pathway for them is to finish high school and go to college. And so a lot of them are even locals. So they're just, hanging out with their friends and they get to meet a few more people. So they're just
yeah,
having the time, like super fun time of their life, and we're kind of after we've sort of made a few friends, we're just overwhelmed.
right, exactly. 100%. I was definitely overwhelmed and yeah, almost like burnt out from making friends because there's so many friends. Too many. you know. But yeah, overall I think it was a great experience. I couldn't have asked for any better. You could go to a bigger school somewhere, but I feel like you'd never be able to like replicate an experience like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Do you remember your first class?
I don't. I remember the first few, like from what I could remember. I remember the first like um we had those like required classes on different topics for first year seminars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See, I remember my first year seminar class was interesting.
In what way?
It's just I don't know. I was sitting in this classroom that felt old and new at the same time, you know. And then because like there's tiny windows, but like chairs are connected with like tables. Little desk is connected to the chairs,
Yeah.
which like felt
Yeah,
like
those little fold table things.
yeah, it felt like middle school or something. And like um and then this old lady came in and was like, "Hey, here's the syllabus, right?" And it's like I'm seeing syllabus before, but it was just like, "Oh wow, here we go. Like we're gonna be graded on these," and all the stress just like filled me up to here. But she turned out to be super nice, and her topic is still quite influential to I think how I look at the world. So I'm glad I kind of got like voluntold to go to the class.
Yeah. And so, well,
Yeah.
how did you find the first couple of classes there? Because I've talked to some people, and some people had problems just with, I don't know, the language barrier with having to speak and, learn stuff in English.
Yes,
And then I've had people who are just, yeah, just overwhelmed by itself. So, did you have any of those experiences?
no, not really surprisingly. I think most of my classes were in the science building. So there's that, and also um, I think like some of my like FYS classmates like showed me where the classroom was or something, or like ran into them on campus and they were going there anyways. So like I just kind of tagged along and kind of worked out, I think.
Yeah, that's nice. That saves a lot of confusion because, yeah, trying to find the classrooms when you just have no idea what the school's like is extremely challenging.
Yeah, I do have a pastime hobby of looking at the map, and when we got the little package when we landed, that's the first thing that I read was the map to figure out where I am and where I need to go. Yeah, and the schedule. Yeah,
What about the physics classes?
physics classes.
How were they?
Uh yeah. So a lot of my classmates, or like all my classmates, sorry, I gotta think about how to formulate this. Um, so I was friends with a lot of the Chinese students, and so when we picked classes, we picked a lot of similar classes because the basics are the same. You gotta do Calc 1, 2, 3, and then take Physics 1, 2 type of deal. So we all took that in the first few semesters. But from my memory, it was quite nerve wracking because the other Chinese students they were good at it. Like they learned it in high school, and this is just a review to them. But like for me, I never took calc. I sucked at like pre-calc level math, and um everything was new to me, and it was very difficult. Um, and yeah, the first the Calc 1 teacher was like a substitute teacher that like was just subbing in for someone that retired out of the blue, and retired or something out of the blue, and that was an experience.
Yeah, it sounds pretty tough right off the bat.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I'm it's fine.
I don't know if you're making it up.
No. It's so there was this story of that instructor. I think he made some like pretty racist remarks and
All right.
and pissed off some of the Ethiopian students. And the next class around, he had to like come back in and revisit and apologize for
Oh
what
my
he
god.
said. Yeah, fortunately, that was the only encounter that I've had that like really raised my eyebrow. But
That's pretty wild.
yeah, yeah, no, I was like, I wasn't sure why he was saying certain things at the time. And then my roommate, who is also Ethiopian, was pissed when I got back to my room because he was like in the back row with some of his other like Ethiopian friends, and he was like, "What the fuck did he?" So, yeah, that was quite an experience.
Who was your
But
roommate?
I think his name is Abulu.
That's right.
Uh,
I remember now.
yeah, skinny but very tall guy.
Yeah, I remember him because he played. He trained at least a little bit with the junior varsity team, the basketball team, when I was playing with them.
Right.
How did you guys get along as roommates?
It was all right. I mean, like we were roommates, we weren't best friends. I was slightly concerned with his high high dosage consumption of Mountain Dew. But but you know, he's great. And sometimes he probably because of it, he probably like stay up a little bit more than I would, but I fall asleep no problem, so never bothered me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. It had once in the US, you can just have all the Mountain Dew you want.
Oh yeah, it's like he was going through like one of those like 24-pack a week or something.
Oh
It
my
was
god. They obviously don't have it in Ethiopia.
well, I hope not. It's yeah. But I think he didn't finish, right? From my memory, he left at some point.
Right. Yeah, I think he did. He didn't finish the full 4 years with us. I think he transferred somewhere else.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, he's a good chap and then yeah.
Do you have a favorite professor?
That's hard to say. I have a few. I have at least one for each of the like big areas of classes that I had to take. Like um the my first year seminar professor, I think her name is Susan. Um she taught the like her FYS topic was on death, which is like end of life care in the US and how death is handled in this country. And I thought that was interesting because, you know, it's got very deep insights that nobody really talks about and wants to think about for that matter. So, yeah, that was quite memorable. Um, I remember the philosophy professor. I think his name was Stephen something. He's great. He's so smart and he's great at encouraging people into like inviting people into conversations and inviting thoughts from people that normally wouldn't want to share their thoughts. And he's just such a passionate guy and he's so smart. I love him.
Yeah, that's great. I think
Just
having a professor like that is really good. And I, in particular, enjoyed the philosophy, like religion classes at Augie because just the great discussions that we had were so good. And yeah, people shared different sort of viewpoints and different ideas, but we all kind of had that common goal of really just trying to put in as much as we could to kind of, yeah, just reflect on different viewpoints and different possibilities.
yeah. I know what you mean. I had a slightly different experience with the religion class. I think like I for a religion class and for how much I dreaded it before I took it, it was actually a lot better than I expected. But I think for me, like I had little to no religion exposure before, and I try to keep up as much as possible. But at the end of the day, I think I didn't really get to like take away from it as much as probably some other like students in the class did, which is kind of a shame. But I wish I did.
Well, I think being in South Dakota in the middle of the Midwest, it is a pretty religious state. A lot of people are Christian, go to church on every Sunday. Did you have any, like, did you feel like you fit in okay into that culture? The whole Midwest culture?
I think so. I mean, yeah, like rarely did anyone say, "Hey, come to my church, come to church with me on Sunday" or something like that, which would have been like slightly uncomfortable for me. I mean, okay, I don't know. I just never been to like a sermon or something, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I still don't know how I would react to that. I would probably awkwardly say no, but it's not as in my face as I thought it would be. And you know, there are students, like fellow students that were in leadership position that eventually like wanted to become kind of like the religious leader side of, you know, campus roles, and they never really pushed it on me. So I think, I mean, I quite appreciate that, since I just don't know how to like know that still to this day.
Yeah, well, I think that's good. That, and I think you're quite right that it's not. There is at Augustana there is a big Christian element to it, but it's not like there's no mandatory church service or anything like that. But I feel like the Christian values, really do kind of string through in terms of care, and I mean, like, care is the biggest one, I think, especially with the professors and other students as well.
Yeah, 100%. Like everybody was super nice, and I mean, whatever. And I wasn't about to dig deep into why they were nice to me.
There's a bigger reason.
I don't think that was like religion was the only reason either. I think they were really, really nice people.
And this this sort of topic just sort of sparked something for me. We were over there in it would have been 2016 when Trump got elected.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember that day being I feel like the air was a little bit different that day. I don't know, because it was a massive shock that he actually did get elected, because it was kind of just a bit of a joke. Like, yeah, there's no way this, like, I don't know, goofball is going to get elected into the White House. But then sure enough, he did.
Yeah. No, I was hearing people talk about it, and you know, everybody that I know is like, yeah, there's no way Trump's gonna win, right? But you know, not even halfway through, the polls were already coming in, and you know, it was pretty much determined that, you know, enough swing state has voted for Trump that pretty much Trump's gonna win, and it was just such a. It felt like air was thicker, like you said that day.
And by the way, South Dakota is a red state as well, so there's plenty of people on campus that were super pumped that he got into the White House.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
I remember a few conversations I had with people. I mean, it's just, I feel like it's really different for us because we don't have strong political views, especially when it like comes to the US.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then just talking to people, just like some of the really like strong and different viewpoints that people had, I found like quite fascinating, really.
Okay. Yeah, no. I mean, to be honest, Trump getting elected in my first year was like, it was a side note. It was like, at the bottom corner, it was there. But the consequence of that, I definitely felt better, stronger than the day off election. I felt because for me, I had no stake in the game. At that point, at least I felt, but turns out I did. Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that was quite a day. I remember that day. Yeah, I just remembered Berkshire didn't have air conditioning. The first few days were hot.
Yeah, it was hot during the summer and spring and fall and spring months.
Yeah, and they gave us like when we first landed, they gave us like a sleeping bag, but that was way too hot for a sleeping bag. So I just slept on the bare mattress. Okay, the stories are coming
Yeah,
together
doesn't matter.
now.
This is just the full experience mashed into one. But yeah,
Right.
there were like we didn't even have like we'd have to buy our own fans to keep it cool because we just had that
Oh
one
yeah,
window and there wasn't any airflow unless we opened the door as well to our rooms.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. No, that was quite. Oh my god, I have such an embarrassing story.
Go for it.
Do you remember the layout of our floor? Like
Uh,
rough.
what do you mean? Like the sort of horseshoe shape?
Yeah, yeah. But like horseshoe shape on the boys' side, horseshoe shape on the girls' side, right? And there's like two pathways they can go through.
Yeah.
My room was right on the border, like it was right down the middle,
Oh, that's
right?
right. Yeah, it was.
Right. And nobody told me that one of them was a girls' bathroom and the other was a boys' bathroom. So for the first few days, I went to the other side of the bathroom because it like I don't know, just I picked one,
It was closer.
And there was no sign either. It was so embarrassing. Like I think somebody pointed it out to me, and then I realized, oh, okay, that makes sense.
They didn't
So,
walk in there with and there was naked girls showering or anything. That
yeah,
wasn't that the.
no, no, but I did wonder, like they had urinals in there too, right?
Yeah.
And
I
I
don't
was
think they did
wondering
on
because
our side either, which was probably a bit more confusing.
yeah, and like I was wondering because the urinals were like kind of low on water, like it's like they've never been used or something, you know?
But that didn't stop you, I'm sure.
Anyways, I don't know. I think the reason why I used that one was that was just much cleaner. This voice side is always a little bit grosser.
And
But
there's not
hey,
football dudes yelling and screaming and blasting their music while they have showers.
yeah, that's right. But that was also before like all the American students arrived. It's like during our student orientation, like international student orientation.
Right.
Yeah, but that was quite a. I was quite embarrassed.
I have a a photo of one of our where is it? One of our it would have been back half of freshman year.
What came up?
There's the International Programs Office takes students to Omaha for the day. And
Yeah,
this photo is one of my favorites.
I know. Like all of our freshman year friend group was there, and yeah, it was a great time. Omaha was fun.
Can you describe what we
And
did?
yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, we went to like the downtown area, went to the zoo. Um, that's about it,
That's pretty
right?
much it. I mean, it was just a day trip, but that
Yeah,
zoo, the was it Henry Dowley Zoo or something it's called.
yeah,
That's it's pretty iconic, and it actually has the big sphere with all the Australian wildlife in it, which I thought was kind of
yeah,
cool.
yeah. That was pretty cool. I remember I saw one of the bats pee hanging upside down. That's the most memorable part.
And
It
then
was
and the
just
sushi downtown in Omaha.
yeah, all you can eat. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, we must have spent like couple hours there.
Yeah, easy. I think we ended up spending the rest of our afternoon there as well, just eating
Yeah,
All you can eat, just
It talked.
ordering as much as we could.
Yeah, it was just goofing around, like talking, and yeah, it was a grand old time, and it was mid semester too, so it was a good break from
Mm,
like going through the semester for sure.
yeah. And then we ended up going there 2 years later, it would have been as well.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Which
That was that was yeah.
so I made a video about that because that was when I was actually starting to get into a bit of video stuff, and I was just recording on the selfie stick with my iPhone 6, it must have been.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Now I remember you like swinging it around and
Yeah,
getting
I was just
transition.
playing, doing weird stuff, just yeah, having a
Yeah,
good old play. And then I think
yeah,
it wasn't until a couple years later I actually put that video together.
yeah. hmm Yeah, I still remember that video. You were wearing this like baseball jacket that's like black and red or
Yeah,
gray and red or
that was
something.
Max's jacket.
Nice. Yeah, that was a lot of fun too. Yeah.
I think yeah, that time we got ice cream and some other stuff as well. I went to
Yeah.
the candy store in Omaha as
Yeah.
well. It was pretty
Yeah.
iconic.
Yeah. Yeah. That was yeah. They got some fun stuff for sure. Yeah, and like, look at how far you've come with the video stuff. Because like at some point we were both kind of like working, like wanting to work towards like video or photo or something like that, and then I just kind of peeled off of that, and you just stuck with it with the video production stuff.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was
yeah,
pretty
because
cool.
I think that's what we did share that in common for. I mean, we still do now, but more so when we're at sort of later years at college because we did a trip down south, and you brought your camera to film that trip, and that was
Yeah,
an awesome trip as well. Do you want to tell me a bit about that from what you can remember?
yeah, sure. I remember it's like a trip from New Orleans to Memphis and then to Nashville, right? And we flew down to New Orleans. I I'm gonna be honest, I didn't plan any of the trips. Like you guys just kind of figured it out, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds great. I'm gonna tag along."
Well, I think yeah, at that point, Max, my brother, was pretty keen. He was still at his college over in Boston, but he was keen to do something for winter break.
And
And because him and I had seen quite a bit of the US, but we wanted to go somewhere a bit different, so that's sort of why we chose to go down south. And then you and Zawad wanted to tag along as well, which yeah, made for an epic trip.
yeah, no, that was so much fun. There's still so much memories from that trip that I very much cherish.
Do you remember
Um,
the beignets
oh
in New
yeah,
Orleans?
beignets were good. Yeah, I didn't drink coffee, so I can't comment on that. But the beignets for sure.
What
I
about
love that.
you? Your favorite was the what was it, like the Creole soup stuff? What was it called?
Um, like, is that the shrimp boil or is that the gumbo?
The gumbo, that's what it is.
Yeah, fucking gumbos are great, man. It's so good. And like till this day, I whenever I get a chance, I would still try having them, even though I mean, up in Kansas, it's just crap most
Yeah,
of
got to
the
get that
time.
from Louisiana. That's where the good stuff is.
Right. Yeah, but the other day we had a food truck coming by that I guess travels through states, and they had pretty good shrimp oil. So I was kind of um blessed with that, and it kind of like brought back the memory of us being like in that where is it, Airbnb. It was almost like a shotgun house
Yeah, it
Airbnb
was.
at
Yeah, that was Greg. Oh, hi guys, I'm Greg, and this is my place.
yeah. Oh,
And
that
well,
was
I
so
remember
good.
we especially we had a few sketchy gumbo trips because there was one time we were walking down the back streets at probably like 9 p.m. or something. Probably not through the nicer part of New Orleans, but we
Yeah.
had we'd seen this restaurant had some gumbo, and it was apparently rated pretty good, so we were pretty determined to get there, even though we were a bit freaked out.
Yeah, no, I remember looking back every 3 seconds, making sure nobody's trailing us. 100%.
And then there was, well, yeah, we made that one, and I think that was the best gumbo we had, wasn't it? It was a pretty sketchy, like, back door kind of place.
Yeah.
That didn't look particularly clean or anything, but their gumbo was top notch.
Yeah. Is that the one where like they had like literal? Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. And then there was also another one where like we had Airbnb. Sorry, we booked an Uber.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I want the shrimp boil from this place. So you guys all tagged along. I don't know how. I would have been like, hell no, I'm leaving. But we took an Uber, and the gentleman that was driving the car had like a very deep Southern accent, and I had trouble understanding him. But the gist of it that I heard was, what are you guys doing here? this is not the greatest part of town. Why are you guys here? And then as we approached the store right across the street from it, under the bridge, there were like police flashing their like lights. It was sketchy as hell, and it took us a while to get another Uber to get back to our place too. So
yeah, that scared the crap out of us, because he was saying that it's a super sketchy part of town. We rock up and there's cop cars literally on the other side under this big highway that we're underneath. Probably because there was some sort of shooting or something, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we were there, so we ended up getting our stuff anyway, and then trying to get out an Uber as quick as we could.
100%. Yeah, we booked it out of there. But yeah, I guess that makes a great story now, because that was a little scary, but worth it. It was good shrimp boil.
Yeah, it was fun. And well, I guess Max and I were 21, but you and Zawad weren't quite old enough yet. Or at least legally. And yeah, so we couldn't really hit Bourbon Street properly. It'd be good to go back, but then we took the train to Memphis, which was a kind of cool trip. Sort of, do you remember that, going through the swamp with the glass enclosure, the glass carriage?
Yeah. That was so fun. I remember like hopping onto the train. It felt kind of dark inside, but then once we like, spent some time and figured out where the what is it, canteen car was.
Yeah,
it was nice and bright, and we had plenty of space, and we just see the swamp zipping by us, and before we knew it, we were in Memphis.
Yeah, 8 hours
actually.
later.
Yeah, because we got delayed. No.
A little bit, but I think I think we did actually, yeah. But it took a long time as it was.
Yeah. Because like I don't think we were planning to get to Memphis that late, but we did.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember it was some story about a police car getting hit by the train or something. But yeah, that was still a lot of fun for us.
Yeah. Do you remember the barbecue? All the barbecue food in Memphis? Any comments on that?
Heck yeah, they were so good. There was that one place that we went to. I think I got a full rack of rib, and it's good when like there were police officers walking out with like giant bags of like 20 boxes and shoving it into the back of their police patrollers.
Beef ribs and pork crackling, all the good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, pork cracklings, yes, they were so good. Oh, yeah, no, you're making me drool now.
And then we had in Memphis, we had a photo that apparently made the yearbook.
Yeah, that was at Sun Studio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was. I didn't know anything about the musical history of a lot of the places that we went to. But the tour guide was super passionate and fun, and even played us a tune. And
Yeah, some Johnny Cash.
oh yeah, oh yeah, that
And well,
was
that was the microphone that well, yeah, there's been tons of people through Sun Studios. Elvis was probably one of the biggest, so that was the same microphone that Elvis had sung into, apparently.
yeah. That's pretty epic. The fact that we get to we get to pretend like we're singing into it, take a picture.
And then we went to his house as well.
Yeah, Graceland, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was super fun. I remember I forgot to bring my camera that day, even though it doesn't matter anymore because I didn't do anything with any of the footage. But I recorded an outrageous amount of video footage of Graceland on my iPhone because yeah,
It was
just
cool.
because.
And well, I guess recently the Elvis movie has come out. So after seeing that and then kind of be like, well, we've been in his house. I think that was sort of, it was cool to kind of get a deeper understanding of who Elvis was.
Yeah, that's nice. I haven't had the opportunity to watch that movie yet, but yeah, I can still remember the animal room, or the, what is it called?
Yeah,
I
there's
think it's
some
called the
weird
animal.
rooms.
Yeah, they had like fabric covering the ceiling, the wall, and the floor, and yeah, there was a jungle room, and yeah, he had some weird tastes, but hey, he's got the money, right? So yeah.
And then, do you remember much from Nashville?
Nashville, the spicy chicken, the
Home
uh
of country.
yeah, I mean, country music hall of fame was cool, and but also the Grand Ole Opry was so good.
That
That was
was
so much
freaking
fun.
epic.
Yeah, I mean, Zawad and I, we were pretty much the only two non-white people there,
Yeah,
so it was
yeah, it
kind of
was
like
very much white country folk there.
yeah, but it was so good. It was they were all performers, and yeah, no, they were just all around excellent. I would go back there again, honestly.
Yeah, it's such an awesome place.
Yeah. Do you have any memories about Nashville? Or, I mean, what's your favorite memory about that trip?
Um, yeah, I don't know. Like, it was all really good. Just the whole culture of the whole
Yeah.
trip was amazing. Like, New Orleans had its own sort of feel. It'd be cool to go back there during Mardi Gras, and because we did go to the museum, so we got to see all the floats and everything, which was really cool.
Yeah. But I'd imagine, yeah, during Mardi Gras would be very, very epic.
But yeah, I mean, all of that, everything that you said, like all the barbecue stuff, seeing going to Sun Studios, yeah, all of that was just highlights. And
Yeah.
I love the whole country feel of Nashville as well, and just going. I don't think you wouldn't have been able to go out, but Max and I went out one night. We were just walking down, forget the name of the main street, but there was just country, people playing live country music just in all the clubs. It was sensational.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I peeped in, Zawad and we walked around a little bit before we left, but yeah, we peeped into some of the bars, and there's just live performances everywhere. The atmosphere seemed great. So maybe at some point I'll get to go back there too.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Are there any other memories that you can think of that sort of stick out from Augie? Any highlights?
Yeah. Maybe the late night events. They were super fun. Each one of them had their own flavor. I'm so sorry. um, each one of them had their own flavor, but some of them really went all out in retrospect.
Which were some of your favorites?
I don't know. Oh, one of my favorite was definitely late night laser tag.
Mm-hmm.
Late night ice skating was always fun, but it felt it didn't feel as special, but it was still good fun. Um, what was it? That color thing. I forget what it was called. Where we got like sprayed with like neon
Yeah, I
colored.
think that was just like a one-off thing, but yeah, that was fun because I remember Logan Swanson or Swan Sauce. He was doing the DJing, and there was just paint. They covered the gym with yeah, with tarp, and they were just flying paint, neon paint at everyone with the lights off.
Yeah, that was pretty epic. And I mean, every year it's a late night haunted house. They do a very good job as well. I think that's some of my favorites. I must be still missing something, but yeah, they were all pretty good overall. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a picture of us. We did because we used to enjoy hanging out as a big group, and so I remember we went a few times. We went sort of we went driving in to this, what was it called? It was like a gaming lounge, but they also had like a laser tag arena as well.
Yes. 100%.
Do you want to name some of the people in the photo?
Oh, I can barely tell, but I see Noah, I see Anna, I see Aaron, Akshit, Dan's there. Oh, Noah's not there. Sorry, that's Dan. Denise is there. Yamlak.
Yeah.
And is Zawad there? Is that Zawad at the end?
Yeah, the shadowy figure. Yep.
Hey, I think I named them all.
Yeah, that was our freshman year squad right there.
Yeah, I know. Dan was a mom. It was a dad band. Would show us around, and then I forget which day it was, but they had like half price wings on B-dubs, and we'd go there.
Yeah,
regularly.
Legendary Sunday nights, half price,
right,
for students.
Right. Yep. That was good fun, and yeah, it felt like freshman year just went by like zip, and like we were in what is it? Not what are the towers? Grand Scow and Stavig, that's right. Yeah. I should know this. I was an RA there. But yeah. And like I feel like we like stopped hanging out as often. Like we'd run into each other on like what is it? In the dining hall sometimes and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it was, you and I, we spent a lot of time together freshman year, and I think probably sophomore and junior year, not so much. Probably because, well, you had a girlfriend, and I think you lived off campus for a little while too, didn't you?
Yeah, after COVID. Yeah. Like after COVID started, yeah. But that's still like technically on campus since it's like campus apartments, I think.
Yeah, right. But then, yeah, I think it was really senior year, we kind of, because, well, yeah, you had broken up by then, I think, with V, and then, I guess we got to spend a bit more time together, and I think it was some really challenging stuff, because that was when, I remember when COVID was hitting, I had no idea what I was going to do, if I was going to come home or stay in the US, or what the plan was, and I remember you sort of being there ready to help me out, just sort of talk things through and work out how I was going to work out the rest of my life, pretty much.
Yeah, no. I mean, I felt honored that you came to me to talk about those things. I mean, and yeah, it was a very difficult time, and like I kind of had to make not similar decision, but you know, I was home right before the COVID hit, and you know, when I landed, I was paranoid that I had
that's
COVID.
Right. Oh, I remember that. You could have been patient zero.
I know, I know in Sioux Falls I could have been patient zero, but I wasn't
Yeah.
apparently.
Because
And
actually, that was a funny, well, awkward kind of time because yeah, we had just sort of found out. Actually, even in the US, it wasn't really much of a thing. It was sort of only news in China, and you'd just come back from China after visiting your family.
yeah,
And we kind of weren't too sure how serious to take it because I think in China it was like it was being taken pretty seriously, but like in the US, no one had heard about it. And you've heard swine flu and all this other stuff, in previous years, and it's like,
well,
oh well, it never really affected us, so what's the big deal?
hmm
And then only
yeah,
like 2 or 3 months later, it shut down the whole world.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it was such a juxtaposition when like the flight coming out of Beijing, everybody was paranoid and terrified, and everybody kept their mask on for the entire 22-hour flight from Beijing to like Chicago, I'm sure.
Hmm.
And but then as soon as I landed in O'Hare, I walk out of the plane and all the masks are just gone, right? All of a sudden, as if like I'm in a different world where COVID didn't exist, and
Yeah.
it was a little bit mind-boggling at that moment. And I remember like the school nurses were like, "Oh yeah, you've been here 5 days, you're clear, you're good to go." I was like, but back home, people were isolating for like 2, 3 weeks, 15 days.
Yeah.
Um, and I still did that, but yeah, maybe it was a bit of an overkill. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
It's a tough one because I remember we not so long after you got back, we went downtown for just a photo shoot to shoot some street photography.
Yeah.
There goes my calculator. But we'd been out shooting street photography, and I was like, I wasn't sure if I should be like isolating from you or if I should isolate myself then, and because that was before that was even really a thing. There was
Yeah.
no guidelines for it or anything.
Yeah, no, we felt like absolute aliens because people were staring at us for wearing masks, right? It was odd, but I mean, we got some good shoot out of it. It got some pretty cool shots, but like more importantly, it was more like I finally got to get out of my little apartment and get some fresh air, you know, feel like a normal human being again, all
Yeah.
that good stuff. Yeah. Yeah, but I remember your um decision to go home was very sudden. It was like, overnight you decided that you're going, and all of a sudden your plane's there, and you're leaving.
Yeah,
And
that was so sad.
yeah, that was, but you had to, otherwise you wouldn't have made it home, honestly.
Yeah. I'd probably
Yeah.
still be, looking for a job, probably broke, not
Yeah.
knowing what to do, stuck in the US.
Yeah. Honestly. Yeah. I think you made the best decision possible. Yeah.
What did you do after college?
Um, so I think for the summer after graduating college, I didn't do much. Some of the Chinese students and we went to we drove out to we had a little road trip out to Minnesota once. But that was about it. Uh,
And because you moved
and
down to Kansas.
yeah, I did. Afterwards, I moved down to Kansas somewhere in July, August, and yeah, I had to make 2 trips. I the night before I was moving down, I was packing my car, and I was like, you know what? There's no way I'm gonna fit everything in one trip. So I just decided, instead of banging my head on it, I'm just gonna make 2 trips since I have time anyway. So yeah, I went down to Kansas, dropped my stuff off, slept there, and then drove back up the next day, back to South Dakota, and then slept on the floor the next day, and then drove back down again the day after. But got everything figured out then, and it was all good.
And then you spent the last 3 years there.
Yeah, that's right. I spent my last 3 years here. Moved once out of my first apartment, um, and living with my girlfriend now, in a pretty nice place, and yeah, very happy.
On the road to Ph.D. in physics.
Oh yeah, um, I'm 100% sure I'm gonna get it. It's just a matter of how lucky I can get and how fast I can get it done. Because I can't wait to just get the PhD.
Yeah. You've had lots of discussions about, is this the right path for me? Am I doing the right thing? And I think because you've made, even I guess when you first got to Augie, it was kind of, you're always physics orientated, whether that was 100% your choice or not. But you've stuck with it until now, and I think you've only got a little bit to go.
Yeah.
And there is lots of hesitancy to keep going because you can't earn any money, or like very little money, because you're still on like a student visa, you're still studying, so it has been pretty difficult for you.
Yeah, it's been, yeah. So one of the problems that we have here is that we get stipend, but the stipend hasn't been keeping up with inflation, and inflation has been crazy this past few years, and it's making it a lot more difficult. And fortunately, I have my family support, but not everybody does. And I think these days I'm working in a student organization that's been working on getting more students paid better, as well as one of their goals. So
amazing.
Yeah.
So if we could look at your whole college experience, I guess we'll focus on the Augustana experience.
Yes.
If you could give that a letter grade, what would you give it?
Yeah. A letter grade as in like ABC.
Yeah.
I would say everything that happened in Augie, like whether it was classes or like events that they held, and all the staff members that helped us, I think it was all A plus. Honestly, there was nothing that I could like honestly look at them and say that wasn't good enough, because that was it. Everything was excellent. Everybody put 100% of their effort into making sure that their students are well trained, well educated, but also comfortable living in their skin, so to say. And I think I couldn't have asked for better.
A plus, that's amazing.
Is that too high? Is that higher than what other people said?
No, there's been a few mixed grades, but I think, well, I mean, could you think of any difficult experience you had that would maybe pull that down?
Yeah, I mean, okay. One of them would be like playing sports at Augie was kind of a mixed bag, right? Because I mean, you were in JV and you made varsity eventually, and I'm sure you had a very different experience. But I played soccer, and soccer only had a club, but we still had like tournaments that we had the choice to go to and stuff like that. But it was like, if we win or tie games, it's fine. But as soon as we have the first season loss, everything just falls apart. People stop showing up for training, and you still need 11 people to play, but it's such a small school that you can't even get 11 players together, right? So that ended up being quite frustrating. But I mean, I kind of, walked out of that feeling frustrated, but in retrospect, it's kind of silly, It's like you're playing a game, and like, and it's nice that that I felt so invested in it. But it was just difficult when other people aren't matching your expectation, and there aren't enough people that matches your expectation around in your community.
Well, I think that
So
was pretty difficult because it was just a club and it was student led as well. It didn't
right.
have the discipline of coaches and like being part of a league as well. It was just sort of self organized with other schools.
hmm Way less structured. And um yeah, I mean, for a student organization, I think it did okay. Um but yeah, it was just a little bit disappointing because all my previous schools, like high school, middle schools, they all had decent programs, and it was just like a kind of a cliff that fell down. It fell. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And in retrospect, it's kind of like maybe I'm asking too much off of a student community that's only like 2,000-3,000 people.
Yeah. Still an A+ experience.
Yeah,
So, do you
100%.
have anything else to say before we wrap up? Anything top of your mind?
Um, Other than shouting out all the good professors that I that I remember their names of, like Jerry Punt, you had his class.
Yeah.
His ceramic class was excellent. It's, the man had the Jesus hair, and get freaking what is it called? Um could spin the wheel and like make the shape in like with one hand or something.
Yeah.
It's
Dude, he was the Jesus of ceramics, Jerry Punt.
yeah, I know. It was great. Um my of We had like three physics professors, and they were all super great. And there was a computer science professor. Yeah, so the three physics professors were like Amy, Drew, Grau, and Eric. They were all great and very humble. Like they were also very much like active about approaching their students, and um didn't shy away from just joining in our students' conversation, even when it's kind of silly. Um and Dan Stangwan, who was the computer science professor, who was new at the time, he was great too. And till this day, when I still use his word tinkering with codes, because that's what it is like, at least for me, it's like, trying out stuff until something works. And that's really how it is. Yeah. It's just bits and pieces that I took away from everyone that I interacted with throughout the time that really made that the time I spent in Nagi really worthwhile.
Fabulous. And then to finish off, one last question. If you could give a piece of advice to someone who's coming from another country thinking about studying in the US, what would you give them?
I would give them this piece of advice that I got from my college advisor, which I thought was absolutely silly at the time. Because what she said, and what some other like teachers of mine said, was to pick the city first and then pick the school, right? Like, where you are living matters, and where if you like the city you live in, it makes the school experience a lot better, right? For me, I enjoyed the small town experience. I mean, Sioux Falls was technically not a small town, but it was small enough from where we all came from.
Definitely.
So there are perks, but also quirks to it, and I think knowing that is important, anticipating that is important. And even if you think, oh, I'm never gonna have to leave campus, you're wrong. It's always gonna happen, and if you anticipate it, it's gonna just make it a lot easier. And if you don't like this experience, in like a Midwest small town college experience, it might really be better to go to a bigger school or bigger city at least, even if it's a smaller school there.
Great, that's fantastic advice. Naoki, thanks for coming back to college with me.
Oh yeah, it feels good to be back. Thank you for having me.